What's up, world? It's your boy All Seeing Iris back again with another video. Now, if you are new to my channel, make sure you go ahead, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another upcoming episode on the channel. Now, this is going to be part 2 of why, not even why, I bought the original Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera in 2025 and was it worth it? Now, I got the camera on Wednesday. It's now early, the wee hours of the morning of Saturday here. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. We've been going through it with the weather. It's been snowing like crazy. The city cut the water off. The water no good. It's like, within a week's time, the city to turn into Flint, Michigan. I will lie to you now. It's crazy. But anyway, the camera came Wednesday. Today is Saturday. Have the camera, and I pulled it out of the box. One thing that I can say before I start, shout out to Adorama. Now, if y'all don't know, in the past, I've had issues with Adorama when I try to buy a red camera for $800. I'll put the link to that up here. Y'all can watch that video. Now, say I was gonna never buy nothing from Adorama again, but of course, you know me, late night, window shopping, see what's out there. Seen this on there, bought it. $300. Got here on Wednesday. And once I pulled it out of the box, I was impressed because whoever sold this camera to Adorama, they took care of this camera. It's only one little blemish on the top and you could barely see it, but other than that, it looks like a brand new camera. Like, I'm talking from the screen and everything, which surprised me because in the listing they did say that this camera had some dead pixels on the screen. So I already know, like, I was gonna probably have to change the screen out, but for $300 for a cinema camera, I can't beat it. So once I got the camera on, immediately I noticed there were no pixels on the screen. So that made me think, okay, if there's no pixels on the screen, like dead pixels on the screen, there can only be dead pixels only in one other place, the sensor. So once I cut the camera on, lo and behold, started seeing little green specks everywhere. So I'm like, I can't do nothing with this camera. It's too many dead pixels. Like, it's too many dead pixels. It looked like Space Invaders for a minute, just a bunch of pixels just dancing around taunting me. Like, it's crazy. So started messing with it a little bit. I put my 24 to 105 on it with my Viltrox speed booster, which the Viltrox speed booster did work with this camera no problem. And then I noticed some things as going through the menu system of the camera. The focus peaking was on. And on this camera, the focus peaking is green. That when you're in focus, the outline of the focus, when you're in focus, it lights up green. So I cut focus peaking off. Lo and behold, no more green pixels. So all it was just focus peaking, just focusing on certain stuff. Like, I cut the focus peaking off, no problem. No dead pixels, no nothing. So if anybody at Adorama looks at this video, I just want y'all to know, before y'all test cinema cameras and y'all might see pixels or whatever, make sure you cut off focus peaking first, then test it, because this has no dead pixels at all. So I pretty much bought the cleanest, greatest condition used original Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera ever. Like, there's no debate. Like, for $300. So one up for me, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like I said I made a few points in the last video. Now, if you haven't seen the last video, put a link up here. Y'all watch that. I suggest you watch that first, then come back to the video. Now, a couple of key points that I want to make in this video are the pros and the cons and the solutions with this camera. Because, you know, you have people that make pros and cons about cameras or about gear in general, but it never had a solution. So I'm gonna go for the pros and the cons and solution. I'm gonna go with the cons first. The cons with this camera is that it has no autofocus, no in-body image stabilization, no 4K, no high frame rate, bad battery life, and a HDMI port that if you look at it wrong, it might break. So those are all the cons. The pros of this camera, it's a Super 16 sensor, Micro Four Thirds active Micro Four Thirds lens mount. It records in Apple ProRes, and it records in multiple Apple ProRes, 422. It records in HQ, LT, Proxys, and it records in Cinema DNG 12-bit RAW on this small camera, which is amazing. It has 13 stops of dynamic range. It has focus peaking. It has the meters. It has all the tools you need if you are into cinema cameras. Another con I didn't mention was SD card selection, because you can't just use any SD cards with this. You have to use the SanDisk. The highest is the 512 one, and it has to be the one that records at 95. The read and write speed is 95 megabytes per second. If you get one higher than that, or get one of the newer ones, it won't work. And the Kingson ones, they're like, those are the best ones for this, so I got to get one of those. I did record a small little bit of footage. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all, and it is gonna be color graded and everything, and you will see how this camera looks. Now, as y'all can see, it doesn't look too much different from the footage out of my 4K Blackmagic camera. Only real difference as far as the quality of the footage is that these cameras still use the Gen 4 color signs, while the Pocket 4K and up cameras use the Gen 5 color signs. They switched that over, I say, probably 2021, 2022 sometime. I did a video on that. I can't remember the exact year they did it, but because I was going to upgrade to the 6K, but once I've seen that they had the color signs all around the board, like, it wasn't no need. It'll defeat the purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I'm comfortable with the 4K that I have now. Is excellent camera, and they lowered the price of the 4K to $1,000. So if you're in the market for a cinema camera, definitely go with the 4K or go with this, because this still does the job. Now, with the solutions to the cons of this camera, with the 1080p footage it shoots, is not a big problem for me, and it's not a big problem for a lot of us to use DaVinci Resolve. We have a feature built in there called Super Scale, which I can take 1080p footage, run it up to 4K if I want to. It is not going to lose quality enough. You can adjust the sharpness and a whole lot of other stuff to the footage in post. Now, as far as a high frame rate recording, the 24 frames per second is good for me. If I need to do slow-mo or anything, if the subject I'm shooting is not moving extremely fast, I can still do slow-mo within DaVinci Resolve with a few modifications to the footage. Like, it's probably like the same how they do in Premiere Pro, but it's like a little different process within DaVinci Resolve. So that solution, I would say, the solution number 2. Solution number 3 for the battery life, I already have a Sony battery adapter plate that I was using for my Blackmagic 4K until I got a bigger battery for it, and I could just run it 12 volts out from that plate. It's a small rig plate. I can just run it out from the small rig plate, throw it in this camera, and I guarantee that battery will have this camera running all day. Right? Because this camera doesn't require a whole lot of like power to run. It's 12 volts It's not a power intensive camera versus the 4K, which is a little power intensive because it has a fan running to keep the fan cool to prevent overheating. And with the HDMI port situation on here, they still make cages for these cameras. A strong aftermarket for these cameras, still new and used. I can get a cage for this camera, good cage, $125. And with that cage, I can get the power cord, and I could get the HDMI cord that comes with the locking bracket, which I can lock it onto the cage. So that way, when I'm out shooting, I don't have to worry about the risk of my HDMI port on here being damaged. Because the last thing I want to do is be a camera repair tech and be repairing this camera if this HDMI or anything else goes out on this camera. One thing I can say, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because I was looking for another backup camera in a way for my B cam, but just to prove to people that this is still a good option in 2025, I'm going to shoot probably like 3 music videos with this camera, and I want you guys to be the judge of the quality and the performance of this camera. I'm definitely gotta get all the stuff I need for it first, because the camera is so small and yet so fragile. I don't want to risk dropping this camera and rendering it useless, and that'd be money down the drain, because I will just buy another camera and just sit this one around for parts if that does happen. But I'm going to shoot 3 music videos with this camera, like full head-on music videos, effects, color grade, the whole 9, and let y'all see how this camera that came out in 2013, 2014 still holds up in 2025. So that's all for this episode. If you did like this episode, go ahead and give me this thumbs up. If you didn't like the episode, thumbs down. There's also going to be links in the description to my Amazon store for previous gear that I reviewed, and it doesn't cost y'all anything, but I do receive a small portion if y'all do purchase through my links, and that does help me out, that helps the channel out, and that helps me keep making these videos. But with that being said, I am All Seeing Iris, and I will see y'all next episode. Until then, y'all keep being creative. Peace.